Hey guys, AGYT Abbott here, and today we're going to be doing a movie review. I haven't done one since Scoob, mainly because there hasn't been any movies coming out recently. But with the release of Greyhound and First Cow this week, there should be some movie reviews coming up very soon. But I thought we'd take a look at one of my favorite A24 films, The Witch, directed by Robert Eggers. If you haven't seen it, this contains spoilers, but he directed The Lighthouse. So, one of the very few things that that aren't presented, like when you watch the trailer, you don't get a super scary vibe. There's some in the trailer, but dude, this movie is freaky, and it does it without having jump scares. It doesn't rely on jump scares. Unlike most horror movies these days, it just doesn't rely on it. It has creepy imagery and creepy scenery. Yeah, really the setting is the main big creepy factor in this film, as Thomason's family, by the way, Anya Taylor-Joy did a good job as Thomason, but her family has to go to this farm. They've been kicked out of their area where they were holding up at, their town, and they're starting a farm in the middle of this, well, surrounded by this forest, and they're always like, beware of the wood, but, there's witches in there, which, brings in our title, and it steals the youngest member of the family, and then another one dies, and it just goes to hell really fast. There's an incredible usage of dialogue in this film, much like The Lighthouse with, Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, using words like, ye and swab and all, just very old sailor type words, words that they would use in that time period, of the 1890s. And yeah, this film uses a lot of language from the time period as well. They're always like thy, like, have you seen thy mother? It's very it's very folklore, through and through, which, it's a New England folk tale, I believe, is the tagline of it. But yeah, it really taps into that time period, which is great, and it just adds to the immersiveness of it, and you just feel fully immersed in this world that these characters are living in. As the setting is surrounded by the wood, and there's constant shots of the wood, some very dark times, some very light tones, and you see our characters going through the woods, you see stuff happening to them in the woods. Of course, the baby dies in the woods. The youngest brother, Caleb, or the second youngest brother, Caleb, gets led into the witch's tavern inside of the woods, and the next day he is in a trance of sorts, and he dies as well. And Jonas and Mercy, which are the two twins, they are basically obsessed with this goat. They call him Black Phillip. And man, I didn't know this until the other day, but there's an actual Funko Pop of Black Phillip. So I'll definitely try and get that. But hands down, the creepiest part of the film is Thomason's sort of realization towards the end that she has some very dark energy. She has some very dark feelings inside of her, that she kind of begins to feel throughout the film as more of her family are picked off. And then in the end, it's just her and Black Phillip. And of course, Black Phillip leads her to this forest with a bunch of witches, and she joins in on them in the end. And it's a very cool comparison with The Lighthouse, because The Lighthouse ended with Robert Pattinson's character, of course, being in the up in the lighthouse, looking around, and then the light is shining and shining and shining, and he was surrounded. He would be surrounded by darkness. And the other, of course, in the witch is surrounded by light. Um, but the only thing that causes this film to drag is just a little bit of slow pacing. But it makes up for it. It makes up for it greatly. As it picks up once the witch kills the infant, and everything just starts going to hell as Thomason and her family are sort of losing faith in their Lord that they've trusted for so long. And it's kind of very traumatic to see this family fall apart, and become disbanded, as in the beginning of the film they're very united, and they are a very very well put together family in the beginning. But of course it all unravels near the end, as Jonas and Mercy just disappear, straight up just disappear, after an encounter with the witch. I'm thinking the witch took them and maybe killed them. Who knows? It's never really clear what happens to Jonas and Mercy. But Caleb's dead, of course. Phone notification right as I'm doing a video. But yeah, Caleb is dead, and the mother's definitely dead. Thomason kills her, and then I think William was his name, was the dad. Well, the dad gets killed by Black Phillip. But yeah, Thomason is with witches in the end, and I give it a 10 out of 10. It is very well put together film. It's just a very well, it's a very well thought out piece of art, honestly. It's like a love letter to, folklore, like I said, as it really dives deep into the different cultures and the language and everything. It's like The Lighthouse, only, The Lighthouse is more horror-based, of course. But, yeah, that was my thoughts on The Witch. And thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on The Witch. And let me know if you guys are excited for the next A24 film, The First Cow. That'll be the next review. But, yeah, thanks so much for watching. Goodbye, guys.